Hey guys, what is up? Mech Reports here once again for another video. Today, I'm just going to show you how to make these guys. The wood fire briquettes for burning on a wood stove for your home. It's free heat. The way I do it, it's completely free. We don't even pay for the water that we use. It's absolutely brilliant system what we've got rigged up. So what I'm going to do is probably going to be a couple of parts of video, you know, mixed into one. But I'm going to show you how to make these things. They're freaking awesome. They're cheap. Well, free, near enough for us. And they're absolutely brilliant way to heat your home. So without further ado, guys, welcome to my updated how to make log briquettes for your fire. And hope you enjoy it and hope you learn something from it. Okay guys, we start at the start. As you can see, it's raining pretty good out here right now, and as you can see we've got some water butts here and they're joined together, so we've pretty much got a 2 water butt system. The rain obviously runs down off the roof into the gutter ring and then straight into the water butt, and then the water goes through the pipes obviously and then fills this other water butt, and then try and not get too wet out here. The water comes out into the watering can. So as you can see, we have not paid for this water. It's completely free. Okay, so as you can see, the water that we get is completely free. We haven't paid a penny for it. Right here. So we've got some free water right there. So that's, you know, the next step. Obviously you can use whatever kind of water you want. Doesn't really matter. For us really, we just use the water butts for the garden and mainly for this, to make briquettes. So the next thing I'm actually going to do is show you how we go ahead and take and start to make the mixture. So let me get set up with the camera. I'm about to show you guys how we start the whole process, where it starts. Okay guys, so this is pretty much how it starts off. We got a watering can full of free water. We've got an empty bucket down here. It's a little mucky, but that doesn't matter. You know, it's all good. We've got a big bag of recycled paper and cardboard. Not all of it's paper, you know, there is some cardboard pieces in there. And we've got a bag of sawdust. Now technically the sawdust is optional. If you can't get hold of it, don't even worry about it. Everyone can get hold of junk mail, everyone can get hold of old newspapers and catalogues and all kinds of things. If you live in the UK, one thing I'd recommend is taking a trip to Argos. They give out them big old thick heavy magazines. You can get them and you can take about 4 or 5 of them home and you'll be good for a little while. You make a couple of briquettes out of that. But it's really just getting hold of as much junk mail and paper as you can. We've been stockpiling for last year. We haven't really done it much this year. We need to start doing it again really. We need to start having a bag where we put our, you know, junk mail and stuff like that in. But anyways, this is how it starts off. So you pretty much go ahead and take some paper. I recommend this stuff, you know, it's just it's not too laminated, it's kind of like newspaper material. Let's see if I can find one. This is the best stuff that you want to be using. This is just, you know, newspapers. This is probably the best, you know, material to use. This is super easy to rip up and it disintegrates really easily. That's what you want. So it's basically how it starts. You just take your magazine, book, scrap paper, whatever you've got, letters, can be anything, any old scrap paper, and just go ahead and ripping it, just putting it into the bucket. You really want to rip it as small as you can. If you can't be bothered, then fair enough, but because I don't really rip it too small, because, you know, by the time we've done all this, it's only going to disintegrate anyway. So, but it does make things easier if you rip it smaller. So if you want to make it easy on yourself, rip it as small as you can. You just want to be ripping it and just putting it straight into the bucket, just like that. And you just want to keep doing this, keep adding it. Keep adding your newspapers, and that's going to rip that way. But keep adding your newspapers. And another little tip, what I sometimes do, just a little tip for you, just take this, ruffle it up, so there you go, so you get like a ball of newspaper. It's all so it's not just one big piece, it's just fans it out, spreads it out, and it's a really good tip because it all helps really. You'll see in the end, it just helps. So that's that. So once you get a reasonable amount in there, you want to just go ahead and pour some water in there. Oh, it's a bit, the watering can's a little bit full, but just want to go ahead and pour some water in there. Just wondering if you can see this or not. Yeah, you can pretty much see that, but I'm just going to bring the camera in so you can see. And you can see how well that's absorbing that. If I just get a little mixer right here, I'm just going to... It's good to have a little mixer, and you can just see it's soaking very nicely. And you pretty much want to carry on like this, just keep adding newspaper, adding water. It doesn't matter how much water you add because all the water is going to get used. It's all going to get recycled as well if you really want to. The way we do it is anyway. But yeah, you just want to keep adding more strips of newspaper and adding more water as you sort of, it starts to absorb it and run out of water. Just keep topping it up, and that's pretty much how you continue on. So I'm going to keep going here and let you guys see how it goes for a little bit longer. Just get the camera back in the right position. Just put it down a little bit. There you go. Yeah, you can see that. Alright, so I'm just going to continue on for a little bit. As long as everything's soaking, it's all good. These are not too bad. I tend to rip, if the cover's really laminated, I tend to just rip the cover straight off because it doesn't absorb the water very well if it's too laminated. As you do this, you'll learn what works and what doesn't. Most paper things and cardboard stuff will work, so you haven't got to worry too much about it. But I'm just going to continue on here, and I'm just going to cut the video right about here, and I'll be back to show you what we do. So before I do go though, I'm just going to tell you, you need to leave this to sit overnight, at least overnight. Here you can see I've got another bucket, and this has been sitting overnight. This is pretty much ready for the next stage, which we will get onto right about now. Okay guys, so it's been the next day, and the buckets with the paper in have been sitting overnight. So they're pretty much good now to sort out. Is what I've got. The only thing I've done different is I've gone ahead, I've got some, I just went and got some sawdust, and I put some water in it, and I'm just going to mix that in right here. These don't, the sawdust doesn't really have to sit overnight, it's not really that imperative, but if you get odd bits like this, bits of wood, you really don't want them in there, so take them out. Another thing to look out for is when you're doing the paper, and you get letters with the little plastic windows in that show the address. They also want removing. You can't really have any plastic in there or any hard pieces of wood, because that will actually disrupt the shape of it. In the end, it will actually make the structure of the log a bit weaker. So you really don't want them in there. any bits of wood, any bits of plastic. Polystyrene, it's not that, you know, there's a little bit in there I could just saw, but it's not that imperative, you know, as long as you get the worst of it out, you know, you should be fine. So this is the setup. As you can see, we've got a jack and we've got our mould. This is the mould, it's tapered, so you can get it out easier. You can see it's small, it basically is what tapered means. It's you know, smaller one end than it is the other, so it sort of like opens out like a bucket almost. Buckets are tapered, so it's pretty much like that. It just makes it easier to knock out. You don't have to use a jack to get it out. So we've got a jack, this is to help get it out. We've got a lump hammer, a secondary bucket which we use to mix in. We've got the actual press. This is part of the press to press it through the to actually press it through the mould, and that will just go in there and then compact the mould. This is just in there just to make things, you know, sometimes easier. You can use it to pour in and scoop out the stuff, but that's, you know, probably not going to use that maybe. Also, we've got a drill going on here. This just makes it very, very easy to mix up. I think this is a paint drill. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's used for mixing up paint. This is what we use because we have one. If you don't have one, you can use anything you want, really. I'm sure if you took a piece of wood or something, really mixed it together, smashed it down, you might be alright. But it's going to take a little bit longer to get to that consistency that you want. It needs to be really sloppy. Right here is about the right consistency for both. You know, when you mix the sawdust and the paper together, it wants to be real sloppy and easy to get out. So we'll set this up right here, guys, and I'll get going and show you how we do this. So be right back. Okay, so we've got our 3 buckets. We've got our empty one for mixing, which is right here. We've got our paper bucket, and we've got our sawdust and water mixture bucket. Right, so let's get to this. I'll show you how I go about this. It's a very messy job, so I do recommend wearing gloves. These are just the gloves that I have, but you know, you can get any kind of gloves that you want, really. Just anything just to protect your hands from getting cold, because it's very, very cold out here right now. So, just going to pour the paper in. All the water can go in there from the paper. That's all good, so just gonna slop all that in there. Get it all in there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and probably add a bit more water to that. It looks like it could do with a bit. And then I'm just going to get the mixer and start mixing. This can probably get a bit noisy, so you probably want to turn down your volume on your computer. So here we go. I'm just going to give it a squeeze down. As you can see, very messy. Probably want your waterproofs on for this. And now I've got a wet foot, but never mind. Actually, I've probably got too much water in there. I'm just going to take a bit out. See, you don't want too much water in there, but it's always good to have enough. It's got to be wet enough, but not too wet to where it's, you know, it's wasting all the glue water all over the floor. So I'm just going to pour a bit out. It's sort of just trial and error. So I'm just going to pour some out into this bucket. And we're not going to waste that water. We will reuse the water, and it will probably end up going back into the batch. So by the time it gets all smashed up. So let's give this another try. Just kind of hold the bucket with your feet and go for it. It is going everywhere. It's a very messy job. But you can see it's starting to go a nice grey colour. That's what you want. That's all the inks and the glues. That's what's going to keep the briquette held together. So at this point, because we've got a bit too much water in there, I'm going to actually add some sawdust to this. You see it's going everywhere. It's a very messy job, but it works, and that's the main thing. Right, so there you go, you can see they're combining pretty well. And it just looks like a grey mass of just junk and stuff. That's what you're aiming for, this kind of consistency, really sloppy. It's looking pretty good, guys. And then you just want to add more and more sawdust until you get to the right consistency. The more sawdust you add, the more mass you're going to get. You just want to keep adding. You don't want too much though, because if you put in too much, it's not going to hold together very well. So I'm just going to add plenty of sawdust water. And give this I'm actually going to pour a bit of water out because there's a bit of mush in there. So pour some out. Give that give it a good mix and a combine. Alright, it's looking pretty good, guys. It's getting to the right sort of consistency we want. So this is kind of what you're aiming for. It wants to look grey, with obviously some sawdust in there. This could probably do a bit more sawdust, but it will be fine. It doesn't really matter. You can keep adding if you really want to. It just adds extra mass to the mixture, really. But right here is about good. So I'm going to move the camera and show you the next step in the part of making your own homemade log-fire briquettes. Okay, so here is the next step. You can see I've got a bucket in there, and all of this water is collected in this big sort of square, big old tub we got right here. So none of the water's wasted. You can see the water in the the black tub is very murky. This is just the water we poured out. I'll just put that in there just to help collect some more, and it will all get poured back into here, and everything gets reused, so nothing's really wasted. So I'm just going to set the camera up and show you how we go about this. I'm just going to get the camera in a decent position. Okay, there is about good. You can see the mixture and you can see the mould. Right, so in the mould we've obviously got the caps at the bottom. One's a wooden one and one is a plastic one. You got two there, wood and then a plastic on top. They're not glued together, they're just separate. And this will sit in the bottom, and that's going to help us get the briquette out in the end. So just whack that in there real tight. And I'm just going to try and get this pretty level, like that. I'm just going to move the jack out the way for now, and here we go. You know, like I said, there's no specific mix with this. You know, some people say, oh, I do 60-40 paper and sawdust and all this. Really, it's your own preference. Just chuck in whatever, it really doesn't matter. I just wing it every single time and it turns out fine, so this is probably going to be a bit too much paper though. But it doesn't matter because it's still going to burn, it's all recycled. So I'm just going to scoop some out and pour it into the mould. It's nice and sloppy, just how you want it, so it pours out easily and you can grab it with a jug easily. And then just like that. Excuse the traffic that's going by the way, guys. Sorry about that. But that's about right. You can already hear there's water coming out, I think. You can probably hear that. But water's already trickling out, so I'm going to go ahead and get the plunger. This is the plunger. And start pressing it. And I'll just get most of the water out. Okay, so I'm now going to get the jack and put it into place. Unfortunately, the jack is not showing up on the camera, so I'm probably going to have to give it a little move. Just fitting the jack into position right now. So that is about good, I would say. Nice and tight on there. So just going to move the camera up a tad so you can just see the jack. There we go. Yeah, you can probably see that. Yeah, that's all good. Right, so this is a special tool what we just made up. It's nothing that special about it. If you've got a jack, it will probably come with one of these anyways, but it's just to release the pressure and tighten it and jack it up real good. So we made ours because we lost one, so we went ahead and made it. Just going to tighten it right up, and then here we go. starting to get tight now, guys, so they're ready to stop this right here. Once it gets real tight, that's when you want to edge off of it. So, alright, that should be about good. Just to get any extra water out, I like to do this little trick. Just to take it, flip it down, and just get any extra water. That's just going to run straight out the sides and out of the top. So it's pretty much upside down right now, so and then we're just going to flip it back up. Just like that. And then I'm going to release the pressure. And there we go. Screw the top. And pull the jack out. Right, so briquette is made. We just got to get it out now, so I'm just going to move the camera once again and get a better angle of this. So as you can see, it does make a lot of mess. It's a very messy job, you know. I mean, just look at my overalls already. It's pretty bad. Never mind. It's worth it when you get free heat for your home. Let's just put it that way. Right, so now I've got to get this out of the top somehow. Takes a bit of working. There we go. I'm not going to waste any of that. I'm going to put that straight back into the bucket. And there we go. Bits in there. Just chuck it back in the bucket. Right. So now we just pull the mould out. I'm just going to move back up a bit so you can see this. And here we go. Because it's tapered, it comes out very easily. And then just remove these parts. And you have a nice formed briquette ready for drying. So there you have it, guys. One briquette that will hold together. If you just look closely at it, the more cracks you see on it, the worse it is. This one looks pretty good. This has turned out fairly good, so it shouldn't break. That's what we do with this. We'll just stand them out, you know, in the air. Or if you want them to dry even quicker, you can put them next to your stove or on top of your wood-burning stove. That way it dries them out while you're burning fuel anyway. Some people don't like that because some people say they smell and that kind of thing and just don't want them in the house. That's fair enough. Only thing is, if you don't do that, you're going to have to wait quite a while for these to dry out. That's the only bad thing. I like to make these in the winter, and they help to dry them all winter, get some air on them, and then they really dry out during the summer. So yeah, that's about it, guys. That is how to make a briquette. This will be good once it's dried out, and that'll be ready to burn in a couple of months maybe. We're going to set these outside to dry, and that's about that. So anyways, guys, thanks a lot for watching my video. Just trying to get in the camera. Thanks a lot for watching my video. It's super easy to make these if you've got the right tools. You know, I mean, we rigged up this system about a year ago, and I mean, like I say, my past video got a lot of attention, and we laugh at, you know, doing it that way now because we don't use wallpaper paste. It's too much expense. We can do it completely for free now. You know, it was an experiment. It was just experimenting. I thought I'd put it on the internet, and it, you know, got some attention. So hopefully this is now the better way of doing it, in my opinion. It's free. You don't have to pay for any, you know, wallpaper glue. All the water is reusable. You know, you reuse the glues out of the paper and stuff, and you get a nice free way to heat your home. Anyways, guys, thanks a lot for watching. That was a Mechaports production. We'll see you on the next video. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Peace out.